We gonna pass, moving out, little doubt. Yeah, we done with middle class, middle class.
Hey guys, it's Carter. In today's video, I just want to give not a brief, but a description and a little bit of an in-depth guide to what subclasses you should be using now. I'm going to mostly be talking about Hunter because that's what I main, but I'll also be giving a little bit of insight into Stasis as a whole, how it does against light subclasses, and what you should be using in Crucible, as well as some other recommendations and some in-depth stuff about the abilities and subclass changes. So let's get into it. Alright, so let's start off with the obvious choice here. We have Revenant. It's the Hunter subclass for Stasis. So this is post-nerf to Stasis. This is what I use. I do still use it. Obviously, I have my Gambler's Dodge, my Strafe Jump, but I do use Whisper of Conduction and Whisper of Chains. I do find that with Hunter specifically, not a lot of the fragments do much for you, so I do prefer the ones that give free stats like Recovery, Intellect, and Resilience. As you see here, if I take these off, my Resilience dropped, my Intellect drops, and my Recovery drops. So I use Stasis a lot for the free stats. You'll see if I switch here, I don't have triple hundreds anymore. I have 190-90. So I do prefer that for Stasis just for the free stats there. It was always like that, but with the new fragments as well, it does help. For the aspects, I will never take off Shatter Dive as long as it's still as good as it is. The movement, it doesn't even matter that I'm not shattering crystals half the time, just the movement is amazing. For example, if I'm in a gunfight right here and I'm losing, I could jump up and then Shatter Dive to the side to get in cover. That's one thing that someone commented on my past video, that I Shatter Dive into cover a lot, and that's not a thing that I'm conscious about. I kind of do it subconsciously. But I think it's a great movement tip, and Shatter Dive as a whole is great. Getting in air and then Shatter Diving, it's really hard to hit you if you're just mid Shatter Dive. I could jump up and then go back to get intel. I don't always have to 3-peek because 3-peek is a little cheesy, in my opinion. But I also run Winter's Shroud. I just feel like the most broken part about Stasis Hunter is the fact that you can slow off of anything. You have slow off the Withering Blades where you have 2. You have slow off the dodge if you're using Winter's Shroud. You have slow with the grenades, but I'll get to the grenades in a second. I just feel like without this, without the Stasis dodge and the slow, shotgunning would be a lot less effective on Stasis Hunter, even though you have Shatter Dive. So with the grenades, before the nerf, I was always using Cold Snap. Cold Snap was broken for a while. You know, you could put it behind a wall, freeze someone, and then slide it in and shotgun them. You'd see that all over Twitch and YouTube, people doing that. However, I really like the Glacier Grenade now that the Cold Snap was nerfed heavily in the Duskfield as well. Even though I'm not going to be Shatter Diving most of the time with this, it's great for grabbing reses in Trials and Elim. It's also great if you want to put it on a wall and sit up there, like I've seen people like Potato do, sniping. But it's also just super versatile. You can block off areas. It's great for map control. If you're capturing a point in comp and you don't want someone to come, you could just block this off, and then they don't know where you are, but you can kind of use this to your advantage and get peak shots in or whatever. I just find that this build specifically, I shouldn't call it a build, it's just a random mix. This just really works for me. The free stats combined with the Withering Blade, the Strafe Jump, the Gambler's Dodge, it provides everything that Stasis is meant to give. Movement-wise, slowing-wise, but that really compares to Titans and Warlocks, their post-nerfs. I do feel like Warlock is still useful. It's not as useful as it was, but I do think it's still a valuable subclass. Titan, Behemoth, I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to use that anymore. It's really not viable. So those are my thoughts on Stasis. I think Hunter's still amazing. but the other two, not as much. Let's get into the other subclasses. As far as light subclasses go, my absolute favorite is gonna have to be Bottom Tree Gunslinger, just because of the weighted knife. This thing is insane, and just combined with the Gunslinger grenades is just a lethal combo. You have Knock 'em Down, where your precision kills give weapon stability and handling. Your super does more damage when cast. That's more of a PvE thing though. And it's just amazing to get the handling, especially if you're using Stompies. The handling stability, it's really noticeable, as well as practice makes perfect. Entering a trance with each precision hit reduces the cooldown of your golden gun. This actually, you'd be surprised, it's not as ineffective in PvP as you'd think. I could say that there are a few times where I've won an engagement or in a comp or elim match just because of this, and how long the golden gun cooldown is. It actually reduces it significantly. Line them up, enables precision damage with golden gun. This is really just for PvE, but it doesn't really matter here. The weighted knife though, this combo, the incendiary grenade and the weighted knife, is my favorite. You'll see a lot of people running trip mines, but I just feel like this incendiary grenade, it provides a lot more versatility. I mean, you can bounce it off walls if you want. You can also bounce the knife off if you want, which you might see a few of those clips in my next video. But I just feel like it's so much smoother than Top Tree. However, I do use Top Tree when I'm playing Control for the golden gun. I can get as many shots as I want. But in competitive modes like Elim, Trials, Comp, I really like this, because the golden gun, it doesn't matter, you have 3 shots, there are 3 people on the team, if you want to get all 3. Obviously, I always recommend Gambler's Dodge and Strafe Jump for the movement. And yeah, I just find that this is amazing, especially in Rumble. You'll see Walla use it, another Destiny YouTuber, you should go watch him, he's great. He always uses Bottom Tree, and I think it's just a really great subclass overall. You always have something. You can dodge to get the knife back, and you can really get yourself out of a sticky situation if you don't have any abilities or your shotgun's not reloaded. Next, we have Arc Strider. I really like this subclass. Obviously, I have Strafe Jump and Gambler's Dodge on. I do really like Arc Bolt Grenades because they do 81 damage, and that's enough to they really pair with a lot of hand cannons. You can throw that behind a wall to finish someone off if they're weak, but that doesn't really combo with any of these, so it's a good standalone grenade to use. As for trees, I barely ever use Top Tree. I don't think I really use it at all. I don't think I've even selected it ever. Way of the Warrior, I really don't like it for PvP. It just doesn't give enough. Middle Tree, I use this a lot. I don't know, I can't really say which is better, Bottom Tree or Top Tree. You'll see a lot of people use Bottom Tree just because of the faster sprint. Just, you can get your dodge back, your sprint speed is higher, you have the disorienting blow. It's really great. The only thing I would say that you'd want to use Middle Tree over Bottom Tree is because of the super. In comp, it's really, you'll see me in some of my past videos use this to clutch around, just because of the blocking. It's really amazing. You can block rockets, supers, guns, anything, gunshots. You're not even just blocking it, you're also reflecting it, so you can kill people with their own super, their own golden gun, their own shots. It's just really great, and no one expects it because nobody really uses Middle Tree. I also like the Tempest Strike. It provides great movement when you're going around. Let me switch to this actually before I show you guys. I have Middle Tree equipped. The melee doesn't really do much, but you do have the fist melee, which is a longer reach in my opinion. But then you'll see I can use this Tempest melee to go around walls and maybe shotgun someone like that, and no one really expects it. You can also, once you do that combo, you can dodge in, shotgun, go above, and do it again, and you have your melee back. Another thing I like to do with this subclass when I have my super is kind of, I don't like to use the block too much, because you'll see if you look down at my super bar, it does consume a lot of super energy. You could use the exotic, but that is really only useful in PvE if you want to. But with the super, I can block, dodge, and then block every single. I try to use my cover, and then dodge to get better positioning, and then come at them like that. I don't want to just block and just run at them straight, because if you do that, you'll see I really drain my super bar. However, I will say with bottom tree, the disorienting blow is huge. It can really mess someone up, especially in a melee fight. Even if they get the first punch off, if you jump above them and punch, they might not be able to hit you again, which is really amazing. The sprint speed, I don't notice it too much, but I can tell it's there sometimes. Using quick feign, I look really fast jumping around the map. I just love movement in general. You'll see me use zombies a lot. I never take them off. It's a horrible addiction. But for PvP, I would recommend middle tree or bottom tree, respectively. Always use arc bolts unless you want to stick people with flux, like Cami Cakes. That's really awesome. Skip grenades are great only if you're using the exotic that pairs with them. I wouldn't recommend them. Maybe for PvE if you're doing a build, but not for PvP. So flux or arc bolt, I always use arc bolt, and then middle tree or bottom tree are both great. And for our last subclass, we have Night Stalker. It's really not even a choice whether to use top, bottom, or middle. Always use middle in PvP, unless you want to go somewhere with the vanishing step. I know people like to use this because they can go and they can dodge and now they're invisible, but higher level players will be able to see that. They can hear it. That's why keeping your sound on is very important. I just cannot recommend top or bottom tree Night Stalker, for in PvP at least. In PvE, it's great. You can use the nades. Invisibility is very, very good in PvE. But as far as PvP goes, always run middle. First of all, your nades. Always use Void Wall. I say this because the combo with Void Wall is so amazing. Always throw your smoke first, because then it will look slower. Sorry. I'll try to replicate that, but using my grenade first. I've made this mistake. You have to get used to it. You saw there with throwing the smoke and the grenade, they go fast. It's a very fast combo. It's called the Wombo combo is what people call it. But if I throw my grenade first, then my smoke, it's slow. And I was spamming buttons there to try to throw that. There's a big delay. However, if I throw my smoke, then my nade, you guys probably already know it's very fast and efficient. You can catch someone in the smoke, they're slowed, and the grenade will finish them off, especially if they don't know where they're going. So yeah, always Void Wall. Obviously, I always recommend strafe, always Gambler's Dodge, just because of the movement. You can go, bait someone, and jump back. Even you can do this with the combo. You can jump, bait a shotgunner, and the Wombo combo there, and he's dead. It's a great tool, especially when you're using the Void Wall combo. Flawless Execution, I don't use this much. I don't really know it's there because it's not that important. But if I'm in somewhere like momentum control where I'm hitting a lot of headshots with a scout rifle maybe, or I'm in control trying to get a lot of kills with a sniper, I might crouch to get a headshot, and then I can see everyone with wall hacks. That's really great. You're also invisible, so it's just a cool little added bonus. For Shattering Strike, after performing a Flawless Execution, your melee attacks weaken enemies. This doesn't really do much in PvP. I don't think it's really negligible. So you're not really using the middle tree for its abilities here. You're really only using it for the smoke and the super, because the super is obviously insanely broken. For those of you that don't know, if you do the melee attack, you're left so people can see you, but if you do the heavy, you're invisible again. I always recommend doing the melee then the heavy, so then you can kill someone and then immediately go invisible for the next guy. There's an exotic that pairs with this. I don't recommend using it because it's not much in PvP, the super bonus at least. But compared to top and bottom tree, middle tree is obviously the right choice. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.